Gentlemen, let's start with a question that most men don't ask out loud. Could something as private as how often I masturbate really affect my heart health? It may feel like an odd connection at first, but when we look closer, the body doesn't separate things the way our minds do. Every system in your body is connected, and your heart, being the pump that keeps everything alive, pays close attention to what's happening in other areas, including your sexual habits. Now, before we dive deep, let's make one thing clear. Masturbation is a natural and common behavior among men. It is not harmful in itself. In fact, many studies have shown that it can help reduce stress, improve mood, and even support better sleep because of the release of endorphins and the relaxation that follows. But like with many things in life, too much or too little can shift the balance, and your heart often feels those changes before you even notice them. When we talk about heart health, we're not only talking about clogged arteries or blood pressure numbers. We're talking about how your heart responds to your overall lifestyle, how you eat, how you move, how you handle stress, and yes, even how often you engage in sexual activity, whether with a partner or alone. Here's where it gets interesting. Frequent self-stimulation can influence certain hormones in the body, and those hormones have direct effects on the cardiovascular system. For example, dopamine, the pleasure chemical, spikes during arousal. Then there's prolactin, which rises after orgasm and creates that sense of relaxation. A small release of these hormones is perfectly normal, but when it becomes too frequent, the constant ups and downs can affect your energy levels, motivation, and even blood pressure stability. Think of your heart like a well-tuned engine. If you're constantly revving it up and cooling it down without proper balance, over time, it can wear on the system. This doesn't mean masturbation is dangerous. What it means is that frequency matters. Too frequent, and you may notice fatigue, changes in focus, or even subtle shifts in your cardiovascular endurance, like getting tired more quickly when climbing stairs or working in the garden. Another point many men overlook is how frequent self-stimulation ties into stress management. Some men use it as a quick way to calm down or escape from tension. In moderation, that's fine. It's your body's built-in stress reliever. But if it becomes your main stress outlet, your nervous system may get used to this pattern, and that can impact how your body handles real-life stressors. Why does this matter for your heart? Because chronic stress is one of the biggest silent threats to cardiovascular health. If the habit is masking stress rather than addressing it, your heart keeps carrying the burden quietly. Let's also touch on blood vessels, because these are at the center of heart health. During arousal, blood vessels dilate, blood pressure temporarily rises, and then after orgasm, there's usually a drop in blood pressure as relaxation kicks in. Occasionally, this can be beneficial, like a natural reset button. But with high frequency, those swings can start to feel like too much for men who already deal with high blood pressure, irregular heartbeat, or weakened arteries. And here's something important for men over 50. As testosterone naturally declines with age, the body's recovery after sexual activity changes. What may have felt effortless in your 20s or 30s can take more energy now. If you add frequent masturbation on top of already lower hormone levels, the fatigue can feel heavier, and that, in turn, affects motivation to exercise or eat well, the very things your heart depends on. So, what's the takeaway here? Moderation. Your heart thrives on balance. Masturbation can be part of a healthy lifestyle. But if it becomes excessive, it can drain your energy, subtly stress your cardiovascular system, and affect your overall well-being. Now, I'm not saying count every single time or make it into a stressful scoreboard. That would defeat the purpose. Instead, pay attention to how your body feels. Do you feel more tired afterward? Do you notice a dip in motivation to get outside and move? Do you rely on it mainly when you're stressed? These are the clues your body is giving you. In the next part, we're going to go deeper, looking at how hormones like testosterone, cortisol, and dopamine directly connect your sexual habits with your circulation and stress response. That's where the science really shows us the link between what happens privately and what keeps your heart strong for years to come. But before we move forward, if you're finding this discussion valuable, do me a quick favor. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with a friend. Trust me, these are topics many men wonder about but rarely hear explained clearly. By sharing, you could be helping someone else improve not just their heart health, but their confidence and quality of life. As we touched on earlier, hormones are the body's messengers. They move quietly through your bloodstream, guiding how your body feels, reacts, and recovers. When it comes to both sexual habits and heart health, 3 key hormones stand out: testosterone, cortisol, and dopamine. Each of them has a direct impact not only on your sexual drive, but also on how your heart and blood vessels function every single day. Let's start with testosterone. Most men already know it as the male hormone, the one that drives libido, energy, and muscle strength. But what many don't realize is that testosterone also plays a major role in protecting your cardiovascular system. Healthy testosterone levels support good circulation, help keep cholesterol in check, and even influence how efficiently your heart muscle contracts. Now, here's where masturbation frequency comes in. When practiced in moderation, it doesn't significantly harm testosterone. In fact, some studies suggest that occasional release may even help balance the system. But when the frequency becomes excessive, especially in older men whose natural testosterone is already lower, the constant drain can leave you feeling weaker, more fatigued, and less motivated to stay active. And remember, inactivity is one of the #1 risk factors for heart disease. Next, let's talk about cortisol, the stress hormone. Every time you're under pressure, whether it's from work, finances, or health worries, your body releases cortisol. A little cortisol is useful. It helps you stay alert and focused. But too much, especially when it's constant, can raise blood pressure, damage blood vessels, and overwork the heart. Some men use masturbation as a way to lower stress quickly, because after orgasm, cortisol levels tend to dip. That's the good side. But here's the hidden danger. If you rely on this too often as your main stress relief method, your brain starts linking every stress trigger with sexual release. Over time, your stress management system weakens, and the heart keeps facing elevated cortisol without healthier coping strategies like exercise, deep breathing, or quality sleep. Now, let's bring in dopamine, often called the reward chemical. Dopamine gives you that surge of pleasure and motivation when you anticipate or experience something enjoyable. It's the same chemical that lights up when you eat a favorite meal, accomplish a goal, or listen to music you love. Masturbation spikes dopamine as well. The concern here is not the chemical itself, it's the frequency. With repeated, frequent stimulation, the dopamine system can become desensitized. What does that mean for your heart? Motivation levels drop. You may feel sluggish, less inclined to move, less interested in social activities, and more likely to stay sedentary. Sedentary living is a huge red flag for cardiovascular risk because your blood vessels stiffen, your circulation slows, and your heart doesn't get the workout it needs. But the hormone story doesn't end there. After orgasm, prolactin rises, bringing on the relaxed state many men feel. That's helpful in moderation. It lowers tension and blood pressure temporarily. Yet in high frequency, prolactin can contribute to lingering fatigue. Combine that with already lower testosterone in older men, and you may notice a longer recovery time, both sexually and physically. It's not uncommon for men over 50 who engage in frequent masturbation to report that they feel drained afterward, not just for an hour, but sometimes for a whole day. And when you feel drained, you're less likely to go for that walk, less likely to eat a healthy meal, and more likely to sit down with something quick and unhealthy. That cycle doesn't serve your heart well. There's also the issue of circulation itself. During arousal, blood flow is redirected toward the pelvic region. That's perfectly natural, but it means that for a short period, less blood is flowing in other parts of the body. For a healthy man, this isn't an issue. But for men with existing cardiovascular problems, like blocked arteries, arrhythmia, or hypertension, the frequent shifts in circulation can sometimes make the heart work harder than it should. Add in the fact that as men age, arteries naturally stiffen and lose flexibility, and you can see why moderation becomes key. Some men might wonder, so is occasional masturbation harmful? Absolutely not. In fact, occasional release can help maintain prostate health, reduce tension, and even improve sleep. The concern is about balance and frequency. Too frequent, and it's not the act itself, but the hormonal roller coaster, the fatigue, and the reduced motivation that puts strain on your heart. What older men often forget is that the body is no longer in its 20s. Recovery takes longer, hormones don't surge as high, and the heart doesn't bounce back as quickly. Ignoring these changes is what leads to unexpected fatigue, lowered vitality, and sometimes silent cardiovascular risk that only shows up years later. Listening to your body and respecting its limits is one of the most powerful tools you have for protecting your heart. As we move into the final section, we'll focus less on the why and more on the how. What practical steps can you take to keep a healthy balance? How do you protect your heart while still enjoying a natural part of life without guilt or fear? And how can you build habits that support not only your sexual health, but also your long-term vitality and longevity? And before we move on, if you haven't already, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the last part. It's where we bring all of this together into steps you can use right away. So now that we've explored the hidden connections between sexual habits, hormones, and heart health, the big question becomes, what can you do about it? How do you find that balance where you can still enjoy a natural part of life while protecting your most important muscle, the heart? The good news is that it doesn't require anything extreme. It's about awareness, moderation, and a few simple lifestyle habits that work together like gears in a machine. The first step is listening to your body. This might sound simple, but many men ignore the signals. If you notice that after frequent masturbation you feel drained, struggle with motivation, or experience more fatigue than usual, those are red flags. Your body is essentially saying, slow down, I need recovery. Just as you wouldn't push yourself to lift weights every single day without rest, your cardiovascular system also needs time to reset. Giving yourself breaks not only preserves energy, but also helps your hormones stay balanced, protecting your heart from unnecessary strain. Second, think about frequency in terms of balance with activity. If your routine includes regular exercise, healthy meals, and quality sleep, your body is better equipped to handle occasional sexual release. But if your days are mostly sedentary with little movement and poor diet, then high-frequency self-stimulation can tip the balance toward fatigue and cardiovascular stress. A good way to think about it is this. For every release, aim to balance it with physical activity. A brisk 20-minute walk, some light strength training, or even stretching goes a long way in keeping circulation healthy. Remember, your heart thrives on movement. Third, let's talk about stress management. Earlier, we discussed cortisol, the stress hormone that wears down your heart when levels stay high. Masturbation can temporarily lower stress, but it shouldn't be your only tool. Building a toolbox of stress relievers is crucial. Deep breathing, meditation, prayer, gardening, or even spending time with family and friends are all powerful ways to lower stress naturally. The more options you have, the less pressure you put on your body to rely on one single outlet. And when stress is under control, your blood pressure, arteries, and heart rhythm all benefit. Another vital piece is hormone support through lifestyle. Testosterone, as we mentioned, is not only about sexual drive, but also about protecting your heart. You can support healthy testosterone naturally by maintaining a balanced diet rich in lean proteins, healthy fats, and vegetables. Foods like salmon, eggs, walnuts, and leafy greens are excellent. Staying active with resistance training, like lifting light weights or doing push-ups, also helps. Adequate sleep is equally important. During deep sleep, testosterone is restored, and your heart gets a chance to repair. When these areas are cared for, the occasional hormonal shifts from sexual activity won't harm your system. One area older men often overlook is hydration and circulation. Your blood is mostly water. When you're dehydrated, circulation slows, blood thickens, and your heart has to work harder. If you add frequent sexual activity on top of that, the strain can feel heavier. Drinking enough water, about 2 to 3 liters daily, depending on your doctor's guidance, keeps your blood vessels flexible and your heart pumping efficiently. Let's also highlight the role of mental well-being. Many men, especially past 50, feel guilty or confused about masturbation. They may wonder if it's wrong or if it means something negative about them. Let me say this clearly. Masturbation in itself is not harmful, not shameful, and not a sign of weakness. What matters is balance. When practiced moderately and with awareness of how your body feels afterward, it can be part of a healthy lifestyle. But when it becomes excessive or tied only to stress relief, then yes, it can begin to affect heart health and overall vitality. Removing guilt and instead focusing on balance allows you to manage the habit more wisely. Now, here's a practical framework I often recommend to men who ask about this topic. Check-in rule. After release, ask yourself how you feel: energized, relaxed, or drained. Use that as feedback for your body's limits. Balance rule. Pair sexual release with healthy activity. If you engage today, move your body too. Rest rule. Treat your body like an athlete. Rest days matter. Your cardiovascular system benefits from recovery time. Health first rule. If you have high blood pressure, heart disease, or other chronic conditions, talk to your doctor about your overall lifestyle. They can guide you on what frequency is safe. When you live by these rules, you don't have to fear masturbation. Instead, you'll feel confident knowing you're looking out for your heart and overall well-being. Gentlemen, the heart is more than a pump. It's the center of life, energy, and vitality. Every choice you make, what you eat, how you move, how you handle stress, and yes, how often you engage in private habits, shapes the health of that heart. By being mindful, practicing moderation, and supporting your hormones and circulation with smart daily choices, you can enjoy balance, protect your cardiovascular system, and maintain strength well into the years ahead. So if today's discussion gave you insights or even answered a question you've wondered about for years, do me one favor before you leave. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with a friend. These are the conversations men need to hear, not with shame or fear, but with clarity and confidence. Your health matters, your heart matters, and your choices today can add years of vitality tomorrow.